I probably could have done or said better. Joni Lamb was surprised when fans turned against her after her latest address. What started as an honest conversation has become a nightmare, shocking and disappointing people. Joni's image is tarnished by the swift and fierce criticism. She said what to make everyone mistrust her. See why this interview could kill Joni Lamb's career. Joni Lamb's tough interview was aimed to repair her image after months of negative press. She addressed her personal and professional controversy on live TV. She promised to reveal Joni Lamb in a spectacular caption. The interview was designed to rectify problems, give Joni control of the story, and reveal the newswoman. This wasn't a typical chat from the start. People tried to forget Joni and improve her reputation. It didn't go as planned. Joni spent most of the time crafting her story as a strong woman of faith who had overcome adversity. She talked about her childhood religion and how she overcome issues, sounding like she always turned to God. However, as she spoke, it became evident that she wasn't just relaying her story. She was trying to manipulate how people regarded her by rationalizing her decisions and behaviors as a victim. Many disliked Joni's portrayal as a woman who had endured spiritual battles and stayed committed to her beliefs. They saw through her well-rehearsed tale, especially about her most painful and controversial experiences. Her second marriage to Doug Weiss a few months after Marcus Lamb's death was a major issue. Many viewers thought there was more to Joni's story than her anguish in moving on. Joni didn't want to address concerns about how quickly she married after losing her spouse. Joni kept her daystar issues to herself. Instead, she talked about her background and beliefs to make up for her recent actions. She tried to cover her hasty action by saying it was part of her holy trip and in God's plan. However, her remarriage timing and circumstances seemed off, and others wondered if her emotional outbursts were real or a cover-up. Joni's interview breakdown appeared artificial. She cried when talking about Marcus, but it seemed like she was more concerned about her appearance than with her sadness. She appeared strong, but she was clearly struggling to balance her own choices with public attention. She attempted to act like a victim, but she seemed increasingly detached. Joni's picture didn't improve after the interview. She alienated more individuals by not responding to big claims against her and the network. People were unhappy that she concentrated on her own narrative without addressing the main issues that generated the debate. Joni was supposed to redeem herself in the interview, but it was another PR fiasco that strained relations with her admirers. Joni Lamb was clearly lying. Joni Lamb tried to alter her tale in the recent interview to retake control of her image after months of dispute. At first, it was evident she wasn't just talking. Fixing things was the goal. Joni entered the interview relaxed and confident. She wanted to shine brighter than the storm cloud around her. The interview was titled "The Real Joni Lamb," to pique curiosity by revealing her life and personality outside the news. As the conversation continued, it became evident that this wasn't about getting to know Joni better, but about crafting the story to match her image. Joni began by recounting her childhood and conversion to Christianity. She said God had been in her life since childhood, bringing her to a purposeful path. She recounted a teenage romance she ended because she sensed it wasn't proper. Joni made this seem like a turning point where she asked God for help. "I wrote a letter to God," she added, as if that solitary moment with herself had changed her life. After writing in the letter that she intended to follow God's will, things just appeared to work out. Joni used the letter to God narrative before it's common among Christians who have received supernatural revelations that put their life's direction in stone. This plot appeals to religious people and shows that she has always followed God's plan. Joni then discussed her friendship with Marcus Lamb, her late husband, and how she created Daystar TV with respect and love. The woman described their closeness, their goals for Daystar, and what they sacrificed to build the network. Joni said the network was created on faith, hard effort, and purpose. In addition to ministry, it was a work of love. "Marcus and I dreamed of spreading God's message." She murmured nostalgically, as if recalling a period when everything was going well. Joni saw the network as more than business. It symbolized her and Marcus's dream and their hard work to help millions. Joni's story had flaws that emerged during the conversation. She expressed her grief for Marcus's death, but her actions contradicted her words. Joni claimed to have grieved for 6 months, but viewers corrected her. She stated she and her new husband, Doug Weiss, planned a vacation less than 10 months after Marcus's death. Joni seemed to have moved on swiftly, given how much she said she mourned, and people couldn't understand the timing. There were many queries about why she scheduled the trip before telling Doug she was engaged. Joni seems sorrowful, but is this a well-planned story she wants to sell? Joni's efforts to mold her story became obvious during the conversation. She maintained that she was a religious woman who had overcome adversity with God's support. She wanted to portray that she was a strong, tough leader who had overcome life's challenges. But this message contradicted what was said about her in the network. Joni appeared faithful and strong, but viewers knew there had been reports concerning her personal life and Daystar's issues for months. Her story of divine direction and personal fortitude overshadowed allegations of a cover-up, poor money management, and her contentious marriage to Doug Weiss. Joni still ran the chat after that. Jonathan Lamb's leaked audio tapes revealed Joni Lamb's side to many. We asked her about the public attention. Joni said she hadn't heard the podcast or seen the YouTube videos to avoid discussing the true issues. "I haven't watched a single podcast," she scowled. "I haven't seen a YouTube video with, lies or half-truths." This explanation offended many, especially since Joni's team had prepared videos in reaction to these YouTube videos. How could she have approved the responses without watching these videos? A problem seems to exist. People who know Joni didn't trust her when she swore she wasn't watching the reaction. She seemed to be trying to appear above the drama while being in charge behind the scenes. Joni pretended to be unlucky while avoiding deeper questioning about her conduct. Joni maintained portraying herself as a victim if she wasn't willing to assume full responsibility for Daystar's difficulties. This technique didn't work with the audience. It made her seem distant and uninterested in what was happening, not more likable. Her meticulously scripted replies, emotions, and tale appeared more like a publicity ploy than an attempt to be accessible and listen to public concerns. Joni Lamb sought to control her public image throughout the interview, but it backfired. She may have tried to prove she was strong and religious, but her story's weaknesses made people doubt her sincerity. Her grief management, remarriage, and response to charges made others distrust her. Joni felt crafting her tale would be smart, but it backfired, creating more questions and casting doubt on her actions. The recent interview with Joni Lamb was designed to boost her reputation, but it was a PR nightmare. It failed to convince viewers or answer her severe claims, just raising additional doubts. Disappointed viewers immediately criticized the show. Joni wasn't satisfied with this outcome. This revealed her story's flaws and generated more issues than it solved. People complained that no one was held accountable in the conversation. Joni worked hard to appear like a bad-luck Christian woman who everyone misjudged. She talked about her spiritual journey and personal issues, but not the most crucial things. Daystar's assertions, her fast remarriage to Doug Weiss, and her son Jonathan Lamb's leaked audio tapes. Joni was accused of evading uncomfortable questions by offering prepared responses to maintain her strong leader image. But the more she talked, the more she seemed to avoid the big issue. The leaked audio tapes of her son Jonathan Lamb revealed a new side of Joni. Jonathan discussed Lamb family issues like Joni's selfishness and manipulation on these records. Jonathan's charges were serious and called Joni's years-long public image into doubt. Joni scarcely mentioned these tapes in her interview. Despite her claim that she hadn't viewed any podcasts or YouTube videos, her staff had created answer videos. Many others pointed out to her that what they were hearing didn't make sense. How can she pretend she's above the turmoil yet be involved behind the scenes? She wouldn't discuss the tapes or claims, so people believed she was hiding something. Joni's comments regarding her marriage to Doug Weiss also annoyed viewers. Joni and Marcus Lamb were longtime spouses. He died, affecting her personal life and the Daystar network. Though Marcus died, Joni married Doug Weiss a few months later. Years ago, she met him but only lately started dating him. Joni said she was heartbroken for 6 months after Marcus died in the interview, which made little sense. How could someone marry someone else so soon after saying they were sad? People couldn't overlook her contradicting story. Joni commented about how close she was to Marcus and how at Daystar they shared a vision. But she didn't mention she was planning her future with Doug before Marcus's death was even a memory. Because she married Doug so soon after her husband's death, many assumed her grieving was fake. Joni's defensiveness when criticized made matters worse. She dismissed her viewers' concerns as lies and half-truths and wouldn't admit the accusations. Instead, she appeared to be being bullied by those who wanted to tear her down. Her response suggested she didn't care what her audience thought. She didn't apologize or explain herself. She avoided responsibility, making matters worse. Joni was accused of blaming others instead of taking responsibility. Joni's address showed she wasn't ready to discuss the most crucial issues. She spoke only carefully chosen stories to appear strong and holy. She avoided discussing the genuine issues. Joni avoided discussing Daystar's money issues and cover-ups by talking about her own experience. People watching the show were disappointed because they hoped the interview would resolve her and the network issues. But it appeared like she was utilizing her fame to tell her own success narrative, rather than answering the real questions. Viewer outrage increased after the interview. Many were shocked, indignant, and puzzled. Many think Joni wasted an opportunity to address the real issues and clear the air. Instead of apologizing or explaining her actions, she tried to defend her reputation. She was criticized in the comments for being dishonest and deceptive. Others criticized her handling, while others pointed out her story's flaws. They were angry about Joni's attempts to control the story and evade responsibility, not simply the charges. Joni's image improvement efforts failed after the interview. She exacerbated tensions rather than reconciling. Leaked tapes cast doubt on her honesty. She remarried, and she refused to face the severe claims. The interview was a PR disaster, not a chance to fix things. Joni lied, tried to twist the tale, and avoided the truth, making things worse. After seeing the real Joni Lamb in the interview, many stopped admiring her. They were left with many doubts and a sense of dishonesty. Joni Lamb's public denial of the claims has generated more difficulties, and many are asking if she's telling the truth. The Lamb family has been in the spotlight for months, especially after Jonathan and faux Arsats. Susie Lamb made claims and audio recordings revealed Joni's problematic actions. Joni's carefully crafted public image was disproven by these recordings. They made many question her honesty and behavior. Joni addressed the charges and growing criticism of her Daystar management in her last interview. She immediately refuted the allegations, saying they were untrue. According to her, the claims were an attempt to damage her reputation. She alleged they were fake and that the perpetrators wanted to hurt her and her family. However, d'autres show this refusal worsened things. Many story followers thought Joni's remark was an attempt to avoid discussing the facts or issues raised. Joni was accused of concealing her granddaughter's sexual assault. Jonathan and Susie claimed the Lamb family had a hidden sexual abuse history. They believe Joni and her late husband Marcus disguised the violence in their home. The claims were scarier because the family knew about the abuse but did nothing. Joni refuted these charges, saying she had no knowledge of them and that they were incorrect. Even when she denied wrongdoing, many viewers and reviewers didn't believe her. Jonathan and Susie had also reported the abuse, giving their claims more weight than Joni's. Joni's silence on the accusations made everyone even more suspicious. People wondered why she wasn't more candid, especially given the serious claims. Joni avoided immediately addressing the issue and instead asserted her victimhood. Money-related misbehavior was also discussed. The Daystar controversy led to charges of poor money management. Some claimed monies were spent on personal spending. One stunning claim was that Joni and Doug's honeymoon was church-funded. Papers showed Joni charged a lot to the ministry's credit card, raising questions about the trip's morality. Joni said she paid for the trip and the charges were dropped, but she faced significant allegations. The honeymoon occurred so quickly after Marcus's death that many wondered if Joni was truly sorrowful or if it was a ruse. Joni's defensiveness made viewers even angrier. She claimed the claims were a ploy to damage her and Daystar's reputation without providing a clear explanation. She further implied that those criticizing her behavior were trying to damage her reputation and shut down the network. People doubted her account because she seemed nervous and defensive. She made many people uncomfortable since she couldn't show regret or sympathy for the accusers or realize how serious the situation was. Joni denied more, worsening the problem. Many social media users were outraged over her answers. The interview was supposed to clear the air and repair her image. However, it simply made people assume she was lying. People were especially unhappy that she wouldn't discuss the claims. She used broad statements that made her look victimized. Daystar was stressed because Joni refuted the claims. The once reliable Christian show network was embroiled in scandal and denial. People have always considered Daystar as honest and faithful, but with the Lamb family in jeopardy, that image was crumbling. Since the leaders didn't seem ready to address the fundamental issues, longtime viewers began to doubt the network. The accusations touched everyone, not just Joni and her family. Joni Lamb and Daystar's drama revealed how complicated prominent individuals are and how much pressure they face when people dig into their private lives. Joni suffered more by denying the claims and blaming others. She stuck together and protected her image, even if it turned off additional doubters. Instead of apologizing or taking blame, I started doubting her as she rejected more. Joni Lamb denied the claims, but the argument worsened. It made people think and distrust more. Joni refused to answer, therefore the dilemma remained. The abuse, money, and Doug Weiss connection remained unsolved, not explained or responded. Joni may have hoped her denial would end the drama, but it just raised concerns. Joni knew she had to constantly repairing her reputation as more unfavorable publicity surfaced.